And here is our conversation with Adam from earlier today. Time now for our weekly conversation with Adam Terry, who will be on the radio call for the Syracuse Sports Network from Learfield for the game on Saturday. Orange taking on Duke inside a sold-out JMA Wireless Dome noon kickoff. They'll get the pregame coverage going at 10 a.m., and I'll be out on the quad with Adam at 10 a.m. on Saturday for the Learfield broadcast. Adam, let's first talk about the Clemson game and kind of put that one to bed, which was a really exciting performance from Syracuse, how they went down there, and we talked so much about how the start was going to be important in that game. They got off to the best start you really could possibly get off to with the onside kick. What does that say about Fran Brown and where this team is at, that we saw them struggle to get off to a good start against Tennessee, but they've already grown up, this young team, and it feels like they took some lessons from that Tennessee experience and applied it to the Clemson game?
Yeah, I think it was a statement victory early in the season, and, we all have an understanding that Clemson is down. They look disjointed, but the opportunity that was created after the first touchdown, coming back with that onside kick, that's how you script it, right? You want to get out early, you want to shut the fans up, and then you want to send them packing. The weather did that as well as their performance did that. And then you continue to progress throughout the end of the game. And for Syracuse, the opportunity to close that victory out with the injury that occurred to Steve Angeli, it's one that you believe in what Fran's doing. The guys are believing in what Fran's doing. The opportunity that arose with that onside kick, and then you continue to add on. And when you listen to the prognosticators throughout the country, that was a decisive win. There wasn't really that much doubt that Clemson was going to come back into it. So, great opportunity now to go into Duke in the Dome with family weekend, sold-out crowd, having it loud, just a great opportunity.
You bring up Rickie Collins, and we saw him throw that one touchdown pass to Justice Ross Simmons when he got in there, and that was a big part of the game. We've seen him just a little bit to this point. What is your feel or read on, is there going to be a drop-off from Steve Angeli to Rickie Collins? And I guess what's your confidence level in Rickie Collins being the starting quarterback going forward for Syracuse?
Well, the confidence comes from the preparation. When you look at how this is going to go, Jeff Nixon is established. We understand what he's been doing. I've been ranting and raving about him all year. Then you look at Nunzio Campanelli and having the relationship with Rickie Collins prior to Angeli coming in. And those two are going to be the confidence builder for Rickie Collins as well as the team. I feel as though, it's very difficult to be a four-star recruit, go to LSU, and not be very talented. And now it's reining in all the outside noise into making sure that Rickie has a good game plan for him. Not Steve Angeli, but for him.
Yeah. What do you think that looks like? And do you expect them to change the playbook a decent amount, just a little bit from what we've seen? I mean, we've seen Rickie go out there, and you could even tell in that drive inside the Dome against Colgate that he was already kind of looking at a different playbook. He was rolling outside the pocket. And I chatted with Rickie last night. He said that Fran told him, we're going to keep doing the same stuff. We're going to throw the ball a lot. You're a pass-first quarterback, and Fran's kind of gone out of his way to express that. But do you expect Jeff Nixon to change the playbook a little bit, a lot of it, based on Rickie Collins now being the starting quarterback?
I feel as though this week you're going to see Duke load the box a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
I think they're going to come after him. They're going to try to have him chase ghosts, bring it from one side, rock it to the other side. And the opportunity for Rickie is to have a good run game, put Yasin in, put Will Nixon in, get the run game going just like last week. The run game last week was open because of the pass. This one, you might have to pry it open in order for him to feel more comfortable in the pass. The offensive line has each week increased, gotten better, more guys into the fold, And that's what we saw last year with this offensive line. This year, same thing. Dale Williams done a tremendous job over the last 2 years of getting guys that have zero relationship, transfer portal kids that are coming in, and then intermixing everybody so they're all on the same page. And we continue to see that progression. When you throw Rickie Collins into the mix, this is a great opportunity for him because of that progression that Syracuse has seen on the offensive line and the ability to start to run the football, which for any quarterback, if you can run the football and then they have to start to load up the box in order to stop it, it opens up the pass game. So it's a little bit different in my eyes what is going to occur Saturday opposed to what we've seen the past couple weeks. We've scared the daylights out of people with Steve Angeli and the ability to throw the football around. And once Rickie gets his feet underneath him, I think that will look similar. But right now, I think you've got to go to the strength of Yasin Willis and Will Nixon in the backfield.
Yeah, that was cool to see how they came right out of the gate against Clemson and ran the ball, I think it was 4 or 5 times in a row to establish the pass game. So I would agree with you there. Maybe we'll see some of that against Duke this weekend. You talk about how the offensive line has gotten better. We saw Travion Mack was back there. He was healthy for the Clemson game. He missed weeks 2 and 3 of this season. That obviously helps you when you're just healthier. But where have you seen growth in the offensive line? And are you surprised by just how much this offensive line has improved? I know you said it, that they improved a lot throughout the year last year, but it seems like they really put together one of their best games of the season against a great defensive line from Clemson.
Yeah, it's kudos and a pat on the back to anybody that was on the offensive line that went into the game. Woods is a high-level defensive tackle that they went against for Clemson, and the progression that you've seen. We got a little bit beat up on recognition of blitzes from Tennessee, and then, each week has gotten a little bit better. Each progression, keeping the quarterback on the feet, and then the ability to just give one more second to the quarterback. And that's where you started to see Steve Angeli thrive, is that blitz wasn't coming to him, and he was able to replace that ball right behind him.
What did you make, Adam? And we've kind of already put this to bed, but we haven't gotten a chance to talk about it with you. The ACC fining Syracuse for the fake injuries. I know you were at the game. We got Paulie's vantage point from being at the game, and he said he thought the injuries were pretty egregious, and the takeaway is Syracuse needs to be a little bit more discreet. I mean, we know everyone is doing it, right? We saw Tennessee was doing a lot of it in week 1. I'm sure that several teams are going to be looked at, and there's going to be a crackdown on this. So the ACC makes the decision to fine Syracuse $25,000. What do you view of how Syracuse is doing it, or what was your overall takeaway from seeing that news come out on Monday?
Hey, just fine everybody the same, right? You look across the board, whether it's in the ACC or other major conferences, it's occurring, and it's part of the game, right? Like this is one that it's the gamemanship of the game and understanding that you can slow the tempo down in a football game. You just might not want to have 2 guys go down on the same time and one guy being a guy that's only played a couple snaps. So, and then this is an eye-opening experience for everybody within the ACC. So whether we were doing it, in future games, when somebody goes down, the voice in the dome is going to let people know that either they agree with it or they don't agree with it. And for a team like Duke, if they try to slow the tempo down and they start to go down, it's one that you can infuse a lot of life into the crowd by somebody going down, and they view it as an egregious thing. Now that money and fines have started being dispensed, I think the displeasure from the Dome faithful will resonate against the opposing team as well.
Yeah, going to be exciting to see a sold-out Dome for this Duke game. You mentioned family weekend. Adam Terry is with us right now. Again, you're ready for Syracuse and Duke. It'll be a noon kickoff on Saturday inside the Dome. What stands out most about Duke now that you've done your homework on them a little bit, and what in the matchup are the things that you're really focused on here in this matchup between Syracuse and Duke?
Well, you look in see who they've played, right? Like they beat up on Elon, right? They got beat up against Illinois. Tulane comes in for the revenge of stealing their quarterback in the transfer portal. And then you see this NC State win is one that now you start to say, okay, maybe the first 3 games weren't who they are, and that either NC State's not as good as we've always anticipated with the Dave Doran-led team, or this is one where, okay, they've started to put everything together. And all of that, starts behind Darian Mensah, who throws the ball around, and there's a reason that they plucked him from Tulane and put him in there.
I know a lot of our callers, a lot of our fans have chimed in on just how surprised they are at the point spread here. It looks like it's gotten up to Duke as a 6-point favorite inside the Dome, and it opened in the neighborhood of like 5.5 points. And sure, a lot of that has to do with the Vegas odds makers haven't seen Rickie Collins, and they don't really know what they're getting from the Syracuse quarterback in this game. And I'm sure the line would look different with Steve Angeli. What's your read on how Syracuse matches up, and does that line surprise you at all that Duke is right now a 6-point favorite?
I don't even take any of those into consideration anymore.
Yeah.
It's can they have a great week led by Fran Brown? That's how I view it. If we had a Fran Brown meter at practice and his end of the week conversation is like, yeah, hey, we're ready. Well, hey, then we're ready. With Fran right now, I think he has everybody believing in what they're doing. That Clemson win now pushes more onto the table, right? Like, you're not all in yet, but in certain situations, you're getting closer and closer to understanding that he has a lot of the guys that he wants. And right now, this season is contingent upon, can Rickie Collins step into the role and be successful? Doesn't have to be great. He has to be successful and be able to execute what's in front of him, because the feeling of Jeff Nixon and how he's going to game plan this, I wholeheartedly buy into.
Yeah, it's hard not to at this point. I'm 100% with you. I think Fran put it well last week when he said, I think Vegas thought Canelo was going to win, so I don't even pay attention to Vegas. And, of course, they were huge underdogs to Clemson, 17.5-point underdogs, and they went down there and dominated that football game, led by 20 at one point in that game. We'll leave you with this, Adam. Has anything surprised you about the Orange? We're now 4 games in. Is there any position group or a player that you feel like is maybe underrated at this point? I mean, to me, I brought up Antoine Delorier on the show this week. I feel like he has just gotten so much better from week 1 to now, but I'll leave it open-ended. What has surprised you the most about Syracuse to this point of the season?
Well, I think the biggest story that nobody's really talking about is Kevin Coyle leaving and going to UCLA. Yes, defensive analyst, but, a fantastic pedigree, has been a defensive coordinator in the NFL and as well in college ranks. And to me, he was sitting on the opposite glass right next to me. So I'm banging on the window after each successful either stop or touchdown. And he's a guy that when you have people, Gaddis on offense as well, guys that understand that can keep the defense coordinator or the offensive coordinator in the game instead of thinking about multiple different things. And then there's this feedback loop that an older coach, long in the tooth, can then give these little nuances back into the game plan. So to me, that's one of the things that I look at. Losing him, he was a defensive analyst, now goes, and I believe he's going to be the D coordinator or something along the lines like that out
DC,
at UCLA.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you're getting plucked in the middle of the season to go to be a DC somewhere. That says that you have that pedigree behind you. But I will say the secondary is improved. Antoine Delorier from the Tennessee game up until now, he's starting to come into his own. And I really like a lot of the younger players that now are getting opportunities. And they might not seize it all the time, but the transfer portal era has Fran Brown has a great understanding of if you got to get guys in the game. And you can only get the guys in the game as long as there's not a significant drop-off. And what we've started to see is there's not a significant drop-off when they go in the game, and they're actually starting to raise their standards. So are we getting a higher ceiling out of some of these guys? Not yet. But are we getting an awesome floor, a great base, great depth? Yes, and that's what allows you to win further on in the season is the development of some of these younger guys and even some of the transfer portal guys, David Reese. Like, we know what he's capable of doing, and now he's starting to get into that role because of other players on the defensive line are now drawing more attention to them.
Yeah, it's exciting to see just how much this team has gotten better from the first game and a half of the season. I mean, if you would have told us at halftime of UConn they'd be 3-1, they would have dominated Clemson, I'm sure a lot of fans would have been surprised with that result. But, Adam, we appreciate the time. We'll let you run, and we'll chat with you on Saturday. Looking forward to a sellout inside the Dome for that Duke game.
All right, see you guys.